I went to 15 different banks. Nobody would loan to me. He's like, tell me about the project. Why do you think it's worth what it is? At the end of the call, he said, approved.
And you're flipping a house in Hawaii.
I almost kind of surprised myself.
What's your advice to people to invest in their future like this?
People think they don't have enough money. They think they don't have enough time. I would say all of those are just excuses. I lost $100,000 on a flip one time.
Wow.
The common thing is fear. Underneath fear, they think they can't do it.
Welcome to the Rehab with Ehab podcast. I'm your host, Ehab Shukri, where our goal is to help you build wealth and financial freedom through real estate. I am here with an extraordinary guest, Camille Davis. Camille, thank you so much for being here. Camille owns over $11 million in real estate. She's a full-time real estate investor. She's done over 500 real estate transactions. You're the president and founder of the Women's Health Collective, so you're committed to helping women build their business and grow through real estate and through their businesses. And you've done all this with 4 kids, an amazing husband, Kyle, who I met. I love Kyle. And just so passionate about growing your business and entrepreneurship. So, my first question is, where does all this passion come from?
So I've always been, I had a paper route when I was 10. So I didn't realize it, but I've always been really a business entrepreneur, but never knew it. So then I go to school, and of course they don't have that in school. They don't have entrepreneurship in school. So I picked the best thing. I changed my major a bunch of times, but I became a nurse. And I worked at MD Anderson, the cancer hospital, and worked my way up, and then had this dream job. MD Anderson was amazing. So then, of course, I'm married, and I'm about to have my first baby, and I have to make that decision of, am I just going to give this all up? And that was the hardest decision that I never realized that it would be that hard. Because then I'm giving up what I've worked for to stay home, which is great, would love to stay home, but it was like this sense of identity, or this sense of all this accomplishment that I had, it was like, I'm just gonna give it up and stay home. So I did. I chose to stay home, and then there with this cute baby that I'm so happy to be with, but I felt really empty, actually. I felt I was missing something for myself. And so, crazy enough, my mother-in-law sent me this book that she was editing for an investor. He was writing his first book, and she asked me to read it. And then from there, it was like the last chapter of that book. It talked about tax sales in Texas, and that Texas was the best place to buy these foreclosed properties where the taxes foreclose and there's superior lien position over a mortgage. And I was intrigued, because then it wipes out the mortgage.
Yeah.
And I thought, really? You can buy a property for the price of taxes?
Yeah, wow.
And then Texas was the best state to do it in, because you get 25% interest your first year, no matter what, if they redeem. So then the owner has a time frame that they can buy it back. And then the second year, you get 50% interest on your money. And I thought, this is cool. And I was so excited. I went to my husband. I said, guess what? In Texas, you get to do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sure it's not that easy. Like, you need to learn everything. You are not going to go to this auction unless, So from there, it just was like this book that I couldn't put down. I was so intrigued. I was so interested in it. And it fulfilled me. I could do it and be home and be with my kids, and I could help people. Later, I realized I could help people. And at first, it was just an intrigue of, wow, how do you do this? And what is this? And what's this loophole that I've never heard of before? And so, no, it's just been amazing. It's just this amazing thing that I've been able to grow with my kids and go find empty properties and figure out what's going on. And so it's been awesome.
That's an amazing journey. It's interesting you mentioned identity, because I came from working with one of the big 4 consulting companies, which carries some prestige with it. And I thought that was my identity too. And walking away from that was such a tough decision, because you've worked so hard to get there. But one of the things I've learned about identity is it's fluid. We constantly are recreating our identity throughout life. And part of that story that you tell yourself about who you are as a person is what determines the actions that you do. And it's really about recreating that narrative and telling yourself, if you're in a position that you're not accomplishing what you want, or you're not getting the income and the wealth that you want, it's about creating that new story and creating that new identity.
It's so true, so true. You know, it's funny, my kids are going through that right now. They're like, one of them's like, well, I don't play any sports, and people always ask me what I do, and she's like, and I don't do sports, and I don't do this, and she's like, so what am I good for, right? And so even at a young age, I think we're saying, oh, what do you do? And what I was doing was a nurse, right? And then now it's like, what do I do? I'm an investor. And I even sometimes think, well, if that was taken away from me, if the whole investor side was taken away from me, would that take away my identity? And because I love it, and now I've identified myself with that, and it would be a sense of loss, I think, if I had to take that away. But no, it really, but it's what you learn along the way, and it's what you become, because having those nursing skills made me an awesome real estate investor. So everything that I learned when I was younger, the paper route, finishing college, all of that taught me how to deal with people and how to help them. And how to find out what they need, and it really becomes a people business. Whatever you're doing, it's how you become, how do you give back? How do you impact others? I think that's the true value in anything that you're doing.
Yeah, and you know, we all have strengths, and you know, it's about figuring out and using your strengths, right? And then finding the right team and the right people to help you fill in the gaps on the areas that you're weak on. You know, one thing that just comes to mind is you have 4 kids, you have an awesome husband, you have all these businesses you run. I think an excuse a lot of people have is that they don't have the time. You know, people who want to really build wealth and get into real estate, and they have full-time jobs, which, you know, we all had when we got into this, will just make up that excuse that they don't have the time. But you've got a lot going on, and you've figured out how to make the time. What's your schedule look like, and what's your advice to people for making time to invest in their future like this?
Yeah, no, it's so true. I think for me, I feel like every minute is so important. Like, I get up at 5:30, I go to CrossFit at 6, I come back, get my kids to school. Every single second in my mind all day, I'm thinking, what's the most valuable thing I can be doing with my time? Because I feel like time is just, now there's so many things and so many opportunities, and I just see life as like, there's so much to do and not enough time. And so I think it's a mindset. I think really it's learning, why are we holding back? Why are we saying there's not time? Because there's something deeper than saying there's no time. Because you can do anything that you want to do, no matter what it is.
What do you think the deeper thing is, like fear or?
I think it's fear. Yeah, I think the common thing is fear. And I think underneath fear is they think they can't do it. I think that's the deep. That's the deep, when you get really deep. And I think we don't get deep enough. Like, we have this surface thing, we want to blame what we're doing on something else, but it's really us. It's our own fears, it's our own thought process, it's blaming other people and not taking responsibility for what we're not doing, because that's hard. That's hard to be like, this is my fault that this happened, even though you have all the reasons to blame everybody else that something happened. And you can be justified in that. You may have done nothing wrong, but there's always something that we can take the responsibility for.
It's tough to be self-critical, but you know, you have to be your biggest critic, but you also have to be the one that is willing to just kind of, you know, pull up your boots and figure it out as well. And I think people have a hard time admitting that they don't know something or admitting that they did something wrong. But, you know, if you don't admit it, you're not going to find the right solution to fix the problem, right? So it's great that you said that.
And it goes a little deeper too. I was thinking this morning. I am so grateful for where I started because of my parents. Like, there's so many, my dad was an entrepreneur. My mom just helped him put everything together. Like, he would go make a mess and have all the ideas, and then she was the implementer. She would have the follow through. But little did I know that I was learning this my whole life, like, without even knowing, just learning this entrepreneur mindset. It's just, I mean, he was trading doctor bills. Like, when he got hurt, built a restaurant. My mom was a singer on stage, and he falls off the top of the roof on opening day and has two broken arms, has, like, you know, the neck brace, has everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing he lived, actually. But he always figured it out. And then he would trade his doctor bills. Like, so just thinking outside of the box or just thinking a different way. And I owe that to my parents, really.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Started at a different place.
Yeah.
Without knowing it.
I know you, you're into development, you have Airbnbs, you have long-term rentals, and quite interesting enough, we were talking and you're flipping a house in Hawaii. How does that come about, and how do you manage a flip in the here in Texas from in Hawaii?
And that was all the fears, actually. I happened to know somebody in Houston, and she is from Hawaii. And she came to me, she had 5 days to close this lot in Hawaii. And she said, we really need help. My brother wants to buy this. So the brother is the builder. And she said, but no one's going to give him a loan, because we thought he could get a loan because he's done all these builds, but all the builds were for somebody else. Mm-hmm. He was never on title.
Yeah.
She's like, we got 5 days to close this. She's like, it's a good deal, and we need $215,000. And I thought, of course, I thought, you got 5 days before you got to close this thing? And I tell my husband, he's like, no way are you doing Hawaii. He's like, you're not there. We've never been there.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to manage the project? But I like that challenge. I'm like, I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, you know what? I'll figure it out. I'll find the money. So I put up and they were going to lose their earnest money. I think I had maybe $5,000 earnest money into it. So I call a couple of friends of mine that I know have just told me, they're like, I have money available. Like, let me know if you get a deal. And I was able to get 2 different investors, and one put up $130,000. The other one put up 80 or 90. Does that make 215? Mm-hmm. And
definitely close.
I almost kind of surprised myself, actually. And so they were like, yeah. And I gave 15% interest, because I was like, this is Hawaii. I don't know. Like, it's riskier. It's actually not riskier, but in my mind, I'm thinking it's a little riskier. Yeah. So I'm like, I'll give you 15% interest. But are you okay if we give you this interest when we close the deal? Like, when we turn and sell it, we'll give you the interest. And both of them were like, sure. So they put up the money, we got the lot, and I didn't know how I was going to get the money to build, but I told her, I said, I don't know how I'm going to get that money, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I did call. Oh, so before that, I called 2 realtors. So I'm on Facebook. I find a realtor in Hawaii, and then also the builder had a realtor friend that I called, and I said, hey, is this a good deal? Because I don't even know the comps there. Mm-hmm. And I don't even know what it's worth. And both realtors were like, yeah, this is a great deal. This is a screaming deal. So then I thought, worst case scenario, I buy the lot and I just turn and sell the lot if I have to. And I could probably make money off of it. And the lot did have a challenge. It had an easement on it, but this builder's like, oh, I totally know how to get around this easement. So nobody else bought it, and that's why he got it for such a good price. And but yeah, we ended up finding the money for the build too. The funny thing with that is that happened to be my 4plexes that I'm building. Mm-hmm. I had this huge challenge I started with a private lender, and the private lender got freaked out because I started before, right after COVID, I bought the lots. Then I get this private lender, so interest rates were 3%, things are great. I'm like, I'll just build this, I'll refinance at 3%, this is gonna be awesome cash flow. Mm-hmm. Of course, it takes us 1.5 years to get the permits. Had no idea it was gonna take that long.
Yeah.
In the meantime, the interest rates are rising, construction costs are rising. My husband is begging me to please sell these lots. I even reached out to you because I was pretty freaked out, and you really helped me. You were so comforting, and you really helped me, because I was like, I don't know, everyone thinks I'm going to crash and burn on this. And then I also was part of a mastermind at the time, mm-hmm. and the owner of that mastermind was like, why would you build? That's stupid. Like, why in the world are you going to do ground up? It's the worst thing you can do. And I'm looking at him thinking, are you kidding? Because I'm doing that. You realize I'm doing that, and you're saying this to me.
Yeah.
But no, I was determined. I was going to make this work. And so my husband, he begged me. He said, can you please just sell this lot? He's like, if you love me, you will sell this lot.
No pressure.
You would sell these lots. And, of course, I want to make my husband happy, and I don't want to, and, but I was like, I am so sorry, I have to do this. He's like, well, what is it? Is it the money? Is it you have all these houses already? Why do you need to do this? And I said, I have to know that I can do it. It's more for me. It's to prove to myself that I can do it, right? And so this private lender backs out, gets scared. The private lender gets scared, backs out, but we had already started building. So we had the framing up, and then I couldn't go find a bank that would loan on it. All of the banks and the credit unions, because I had already started the build, didn't want to touch it. So I went to 15 different banks. Nobody would loan to me.
Wow.
So then I'm on Facebook, and Invest Her. Invest Her is a group that I'm now the Houston Invest Her leader for Houston. It was on their Facebook group, and this lender's like, hey, I do ground up, and she's like, if anybody needs loans, let me know. I reached out to her, and I told her, I'm like, I've got a challenge going on. I've got a situation. I'm like, I can't find a lender for this. This is what's going on. And she said, okay, give me the numbers. And she talked to me. She put it down so quick in an email and sent it out to me and her boss. I was like, wow, that was impressive. Then she gets me on a call with her boss, which I didn't know that I was on the call with her boss at the time. And I'm in the car. I had just spoken at a real estate investor event in San Antonio. So I'm in the car with my kids, because it was on a weekend, so I was going to take a weekend trip with the family, do the investor thing. I'm in the car on my phone on this Google Meet, and he's like, tell me about the project. Why do you think it's worth what it is? And I said, well, actually, it's hard to know because it's in Edo, and it's a transitioning, and there's not really anything like it there, and so it is going to be a challenge to know what it's worth. He's like, well, why do you think it's worth that? And I said, well, because of this and this and this, right? And I just told him, and then at the end of the call, he said, approved. Nice. And I called her back after the call. I said, what just happened? And she said, that was my boss. And I said, that was your boss? And he owns the company. And I said, I was in the car with my kids. And she said, no, that's perfect. Because he wants to help real people who are having real challenges, who are making a difference. And she said, you were perfect. And I was like, oh, okay. So I call it the miracle lender. So then when I brought up that I had the thing in Hawaii, she's like, Hawaii? She's like, we love Hawaii. They funded that thing so fast.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the money within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For Hawaii. Yeah.
But it took 15 no's to get to that.
Yes.
That yes.
It did. And I was scared. I was really scared. But then I thought, okay, what can I do next? And I called you. You really, really helped me, because you were like, worst case scenario, if you have to have 400,000 stuck in this thing. And I was like, okay, I can do that. If I refinance. They're still not finished, by the way. It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
They're almost done. It's the permitting, and so we have commercial grade sprinklers that we had to put in, and even though we had the permits for them, it took 4 months just for the installer to then go get separate permits for the commercial grade sprinklers.
Yeah.
It's one thing after the other, but it's almost done. We got those. We have one more inspection. I think it was supposed to be yesterday for the sprinklers, because one building passed, the other building didn't pass. Once those are in, then we can get all the sheetrock in, and then it will go fast.
Yeah. But I think the big moral is you figured it out, right? Yeah. And I know successful entrepreneurs will figure it out at the end of the day, right? Yeah. And there's no business that you can have that doesn't have problems, right? So I think when people decide that they want more for themselves, they want to build wealth, they want to build a legacy business, they're making that commitment that they're going to take on problems, that they're going to experience problems, but they're also going to be willing to figure out how to solve those problems. Because every problem has a solution.
Yeah.
And you just named some really, really tough problems that required 15 phone calls and a 16th phone call to find the right lender. But there was a solution out there, right? You just had to find the right partner to help you figure it out, and that's what you did. So I think that's very comforting that for people to know that there's a solution out there for everything.
Yeah, and when you feel that fear, you just face it and do it anyway. Yeah. It's just, I had so many reasons to back out of that and just sell them, and I'm like, we're gonna finish this.
Nice.
Right?
That's amazing.
Gonna get it done. But no, it can be scary, and I think that's the biggest thing is getting past that fear and how do you deal with it. I think reaching out to other people who know and have experience, surrounding yourself with people who are doing what you would like to be doing, because then when you get scared, you can say, okay, well, someone else is doing this. Who can I reach out to for help on this?
Yeah.
And then just, this battle with yourself and your mind, and like not to let your mind. I sometimes get in my head. I did it last week. I haven't done it for a while, where that self-talk or that mind, that thought of, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm just a normal, like I'm not any better than anybody else. Which, I mean, you don't want to feel like you're better than someone else, but just kind of that stuff that you start to feel, you retract just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, no, I don't want to go there. Don't want to do that. But the thing is, mentally I can still tell myself, no, you're good, everything's fine. But this one, I went to bed at night, and this doesn't normally happen, but my little dog woke me up in the middle of the night, and it was 2 a.m. And for some reason, I don't know if it was because I wasn't expecting it or what, but I just got scared. Like, I'm just like, oh, I got all this stuff going on. I just got to cry, right? I just had to cry.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think you do. Like, you just get a lot going on. I think if you're always a little uncomfortable, you're always growing, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And my husband says, you can get too much going. You got too much. And every time he says that, I'm like, there's never too much.
Yeah.
That's how I think. There is too much. But no, I don't. I really don't think that there is ever too much, because I feel like if you get too much, then just get more people to help you.
Yeah.
Or just get more organized, or
time to grow your team, maybe.
Time to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to grow. And I just look at it so differently. But no, it's empowering. And then once you get past that, and you get past that fear, and it's actually successful, then the reward, it feels so amazing. And I think that's what really drives me, is that reward, and that making a difference. Yeah, those fourplexes, they look so good. I'm like making the whole area look so nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's so rewarding to create something.
I mean, success breeds success. So I think one of the things that you're talking about, and I've experienced it too, is being able to rely on your past successes to give yourself the confidence to keep moving forward, and to pull yourself out of those tough, dark times when you're having all that self-doubt, and knowing that, because you've solved problems in the past, because you have successes in the past, you can use that to get you through this new problem that you're facing.
That's so true.
So.
Yeah. And then you just want to get that next level. There's always that next, I've done this and this and this, now it's the next step. What's something to push me a little further?
Yeah.
That's how I am, but just because it's fun, it's exciting, and it is fulfilling. It really is.
Yeah, you've taken growing, and you've made it a fun experience. It's not such a uncomfortable growing pain anymore, because it's exciting to see who this person is that you can become. I know that's been something that I've really enjoyed, is becoming somebody I never thought I could be, right? And knowing that I don't necessarily need to have a steady paycheck from a job anymore, or that I need to have routine in my schedule anymore. I've kind of embraced the uncertainty that comes with entrepreneurship and building a business, and now I enjoy that uncertainty now, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
and it really does give you more freedom. Instead of feeling like you have to rely on somebody else or another company to go work for somebody else, when you are creating all the things for yourself, you have to get past the fear of not having the security. But once you start creating it and it works, there's this freedom and this sense of accomplishment, and it's different. It's different than what the mainstream believes, and so you have to always kind of be forging your own way a little bit. Yeah, it can be lonely too, I think.
It can be lonely.
And I think that's why I woke up in the middle of the night, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is when you are doing something different than everybody else. It's so fulfilling, but it's also very lonely, because not everybody else is doing it. So, or I don't know exactly why it's lonely, but it can feel a little bit lonely.
Yeah,
at times.
for sure. I think because when you talk to certain people about it, they're not always able to relate to you, right?
Yeah.
Unless you really are surrounded by, folks that are doing what you're doing. But sometimes when you want to talk to, family about it or friends that aren't in the business, they're not going to be able to relate. They're not going to be able to understand it, and maybe not be able to give you the comforting that you need at that moment.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying my husband's not a good person, but his risk level is over here.
Yeah.
My risk level is over here, and so it's this constant. I mean, even yesterday, so here's another thing. So there's another lot in Hawaii that came up. And he's like, no, we're not doing another one. Like, we've got all this stuff. We have 5 flips going on. We have, 60 single-family homes. We're doing those 4-plexes that aren't finished yet. So we have a lot of money just going out.
Yeah.
But then I tell him, I'm like, but I always find the money, right? Like, it's always okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're not doing another Hawaii deal. Like, but this one is right in the same neighborhood. It's like down a little bit further. I can build both of them together because the permits are actually already done. So somebody bought it and they were going to build a house. They're already done. So I can build them together. And I thought, okay, well, he doesn't want me to do this, but I'm just going to put the offer in and just see if I get it. Well, I got it on Sunday. I got the offer. And I was like, do I tell him that I got the offer? And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go find the money first. Then I'll tell him.
Oh, yeah.
Because then I'll have the money lined up. And I found the money for it. So I haven't officially told him yet. But last night he was like, it's just too much. My risk thing is too much, and we can't do it. And I said, I hate that word can't, because we can, right? I said, please don't use can't. But I haven't officially told him about Hawaii. I kind of like said, hey, guess what? I found the money for this, and we could do it. So I got to kind of prep him a little bit, but I haven't officially told him that I signed the contract on
That's a great point.
Monday.
I think so many people struggle with bringing their spouses on board. So it sounds like you've figured out through your relationship with Kyle. Like, what's your recommendation to people who want to bring their spouses?
Each time he gets a little better, and if I can have it all prepared, he may still be uncomfortable. But it is hard when I sometimes feel like I have to be pulling and pushing all the time. Like my son said, hey, Mom, it's like you're the rocket, and then he's the parachute behind you, and then your flames are like burning him. It was kind of a cute analogy, but it can be hard. It's just going to be. I think you just got to know, like you said earlier, you just got to know that things are going to be hard. It's not going to always be perfect. There's never been one house still that has gone the same way, and there's always a challenge. And so I think realizing what I can do to help him feel more comfortable helps. Not being manipulative in the process, but just realize I just got to give him time. I move quick, I make decisions fast, and he wants to know all the numbers, so it's like, so then I try to figure out how I can make it a little more organized, feel a little more safe for him, and give him time. And luckily, we work well together. Like, he does hold me back. He saved me on a few things. Looking at it as, instead of getting upset with them, maybe looking at it and try to see from their perspective, from a different perspective, and be patient with the process.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you've got to understand that your spouse hasn't read the same books that you've read or gone through the same experiences. So, the better you can do of painting the picture and letting them know that you've got some contingencies in place. I think that's an important quality to be able to bring them along with you on the journey.
That's true.
Speaking of journey, I know you are passionate about helping women, empower them with their journey. You've started the Women's Health Collective. I actually spoke at it one time. I really enjoyed it. It's a great group of people, and I think there are men in there as well, right?
Yes, I'm okay with men.
Okay with men too.
Yeah, it's not this us women are going to get together and.
Yeah.
No, it's more just I noticed women they want to not do it by themselves. They want an accountability partner. They want to do it with somebody. I don't know if you've ever noticed, like, if a woman goes to the bathroom, she's like, hey, why don't you come to the bathroom with me, right? Yeah. And it's like, why don't they just go by themselves?
Yeah.
But I think naturally they like community, and I think they like making sure that they have a friend that's doing it with them. And so I just noticed, and I think they will ask different questions if it's only women. For whatever reason, I don't know what that is. If you go into a room and there's men in there, then they won't ask any questions. Or they'll sit in the back and wait till the men have already asked their questions. And so I just noticed that, hey, if I can do this for women, and there's not very many women that do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like women are really good at it. They just don't realize they are. They're good at helping people naturally, kind of nurturers, right? So if somebody's in trouble in a home, we're actually very, very good at helping them feel better, and they trust us, and people trust us in general. Like if you have a problem, you want to go to a woman most of the time, right? Not always. Men can be great with this too. But and we're actually really good at multitasking. We're really good at finances most of the time. Like we figure out groceries, we figure out how to save, we figure out how to manage kids, like and I think we have a different way that we deal with our intuition. Like we go off of our emotions, which is not always a bad thing. I think it's been taught that don't you do emotions, this is business, don't get your emotions involved. But honestly, I think I go off of my emotions all the time. Mm-hmm. I've just learned which ones are just my fear emotions and which ones are like my logical, like which ones make sense. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're good at this, and I think I want women to know, like, look, you can do this, and this is a perfect thing to do with kids and raising a family, and you can still create all this wealth and create a legacy for your family, and still be able to do all the things. Like it's the freedom that you get with real estate, and the continued money and the continued. I'm so excited that my kids technically. This is what is amazing is if they're not good at school. I have one that's he's not autistic, but he's struggles socially, and like if he doesn't ever go get a degree in school, it would be okay, right? Like it's not like if you don't go get this degree and you never get a job, then how are you going to survive? Because I've already set up properties for all of them that they can inherit. And of course you don't want to take, like we were saying earlier, you don't want to take away that pain or that sense of accomplishment from them doing it themselves. But I feel like I've got this like big net underneath them that if something doesn't happen, it's all right. Go do what you want to do. So you're not doing these things because you feel like you have to, or because there's this fear of like you're not going to be successful. There's a security blanket underneath them, and they can go choose whatever they love doing, and if it doesn't make a lot of money, that's okay. Do what you love to do, and this other thing will make money for you. Yeah. So it's I don't know any other place that you can be so successful and your money can keep growing and the properties keep going up in value and keep appreciating, and just by sitting there, right? It's better than a 401k. It's better than in my mind, it's the best thing you could ever do.
Yeah, it's like you've created savings accounts in your properties.
Yeah,
and they're appreciating. Yeah, they're appreciating. It's amazing because our kids do learn so much from watching us. And one thing I've told all my kids is that they are going to invest in something. It doesn't have to be their full-time job. It doesn't have to be their full-time job, but I am going to make sure that they're following the principles that wealthy people follow, which is to make your money work for you, right? And so my kids all know as soon as they graduate college and they're making their job, they're making good income, that a part of their money needs to go into building wealth and investing, whether it's going to be in real estate or in a different kind of business, right? So I think that's so important that they learn from us.
Yeah. No, I have one daughter that she sees that mindset, and it's fun to see, because there'll be times when I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm not doing the right thing, and she's like, no, you are powerful, you are this, like, so then I've noticed that it has rubbed off on them, like they've learned a lot, just like I have from my parents. I didn't even realize I was learning from them, but yes.
Yeah. Tell me about something you're doing now where you're partnering with homeowners who have properties that have deferred maintenance, they have problems. maybe they haven't been able to sell them because of the problems, and you come in and fix them for the homeowner, and you partner with them to sell the property and share the profits. How does that work, and how did you even come up with that idea?
Yeah. So I had a friend of mine, she had gotten a divorce, and her house wasn't in bad shape, but she came to me and said, what would you buy my house? How much would you give me for my house for the shape that it's in? Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, why don't I just help you fix it up, and then you just get top price for it?
Yeah.
And I did know her really well, so I wasn't nervous about, well, what if I put this money in and it's not my house, and then what if she doesn't pay me? So I was okay with that. So we put in $15,000, so not a lot, and she got an extra $50,000 out of the house. And then I told my husband, I said, let's just, at the title company, when we go to sell it, we'll just send an invoice to the title company for the amount that's owed to us, and we'll get paid. And so it works, and it was great. She was able to sell it for full price, and she just sat back and let us manage the whole thing because I have all the workers, and so she was really good to work with. And we just did another one. It's actually somebody that I just hired to help me on my women's group. She helps me on my website. She helps me on my communication, all that kind of stuff. And she has a home that was older, needed to be updated, and she's like, I really just want to sell this home, but I know it's not going to sell like it is. So then we went and updated. We walked through the house, and we said, well, if we can update your kitchen and update your master bath, and do some touch-up paint, we'll be able to sell this for quicker, and we'll be able to sell it for more. And that went incredibly well. Like, she had 15 showings, had an offer within like the first week of having it listed. And this is in a market where it's in that almost $400,000 price range, which those are taking a little bit longer to sell. Mm-hmm. And both of them were just so thankful, because they just said, wow, like, we were able to for sure get this sold. We were able to get it sold faster. Where if we would have left it the way it was, maybe it would have sat for a while. We wouldn't have gotten as much money. We would have taken less. So yeah, they got top price, and we just closed that on yesterday. We just closed that day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we got our money back at the title company. And then the cool thing is my husband's a realtor now, so then he gets the listing, and so that's one reason I do that too. I'm like, hey, I'm bringing you more listings.
Yeah.
So I do have another one I want to do, and he's like, no. That's why we were having that conversation last night of, he's like, I don't want to do it. And I said, but it's another listing, and the money's back in, so let's put it back out, and let's help this other person sell their house. But we'll hold off. It's too much for him right now. So. Yeah, no, it's a great way to help somebody. I am taking a risk because I'm putting money into a home that I don't own. Mm-hmm. I can put a lien on it, but it would be a second lien position. Mm-hmm. And then if they never sell the home in the future, then I never get paid on that money. But if they ever do sell the home, I would get paid. So there's a little bit of a risk there. I guess technically I could probably have a contract that they're going to sell, and if they don't sell, I could probably sue them, but I don't even really want to get into all that, right? That's not the purpose, but no, it's been a great way to fix it up. I have the workers, and
yeah,
why not?
It's such a creative way of getting in. I mean, it doesn't have to be, real estate investing doesn't have to be overcomplicated, right? It can be something as simple as just partnering with somebody. If it doesn't have to have a major rehab, just coming in, doing the rehab part, which I think a lot of people are excited about, especially watching all these HGTV shows and things, and then just selling it and splitting the profits, right? And so, as long as your purchase and your rehab makes sense, and you can sell it for a healthy profit, and then factoring in some extra contingencies and things, I think that's a really smart way for people to get started or try it out without taking on a bunch of risk.
Yeah, and I didn't share profit with these guys. I let them have their full equity, their full profit, which again was probably too much. Like, I'm a little generous most of the time, too generous most of the time. But yeah, at least my husband got the listing, and I think I only charged like $200. The last one we did was $22,000.
Okay.
That we put in, and I'm like, $250, we'll make it an even 22,000, because I think it was like 21,000 something. So I should have charged more, but at the same time, this is someone who works with me. And then I was able to get her another house that I got. I bought that one subject to, took over the loan. It was a guy getting a divorce. He wasn't behind on the payment, had equity, but he was about to get behind. And he's like, I just want to sell it. Can you just take over the payment? And then I ended up moving her into that one, or letting her have that one. So she had a house to move to while we were rehabbing hers and getting it sold. And it was like, I just sometimes feel like it all just fits perfectly. Like as I'm trying to help people, then it's like things just fall into place. It's really, I think it's divine, actually.
Yeah.
Like I think I have, as long as I'm always trying to help and do good, I feel like the things just fall into place.
Yeah, well, you definitely have a superpower of just figuring it out.
That's true. That's true. Just taking action and then figuring it out later.
I know a lot of people getting started, I mean, they may not feel that level of confidence, but over time, just like anything that you do over and over again, you're going to get good at it, and you're going to get good at immediately kind of seeing the solution. And while you may not have that in the very beginning, I mean, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And if you never get started in real estate investing, then you'll never get those skills, right? So you've just got to get in and try to start with deals that are maybe not too complicated. And then as you learn from those and grow, you'll be able to take on bigger and tougher deals.
That's right. Yeah. And then I think having a mentor, I didn't have a mentor. I was I self-started all this, grew, learned everything just by doing it. But again, that's my personality a little more. But, you're a mentor, and people can come and do that. And I have now started mentoring and get somebody to do it with you.
Yeah.
To help you be that accountability person, or that person that can help take out the fear a little bit, but still take responsibility for the fear, right?
Yeah.
Can't blame the other person that you're not being successful.
So what's your number one tip for people who are thinking about investing in real estate or have been on the fence about it? Like what would your advice be to somebody like that?
Yeah, I would say all of those people think they don't have enough money. They think they don't have enough time. They think that, I would say all of those are just excuses. Just find the right person to move forward with, and you do have to follow through. And you do have to make it happen. But find a mentor. Like why? I lost $100,000 on a flip one time.
Wow.
So if I would have had a mentor, well, I don't know. I was already doing it quite a bit. There's going to always be losses. But I think find somebody that you can trust. And I think that can be hard. I think it is hard to find good people out there. But I'm telling you, Ehab is a good person. And I know this because I remember the first time I met with you. First, you helped me on that fourplex thing.
Yeah.
Without you didn't want any money. You weren't like, oh, you need to schedule this thing with me. You just helped me for free, which I thought was really impressive. Then when I meet with you the first time, the thing that really got me, so I had some other ladies with me, and they were drilling you with questions, and you just sat back and answered. But the thing that got me is there was this lady, she must have been maybe in her 70s, and she was coming down the stairs at your place.
Oh, okay.
And you got up and went over there and helped her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now that was when I was like, this is a good person.
Yeah.
Right? So when you can trust, you got to find the good ones, which is hard to do. I'm not saying that the world is all bad, but most people are selfish and they're going to go after what they want first. But when you can find the person that truly is helping other people and not putting themselves first, work with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll be successful.
Such an important message, and I hope people really understand that real estate investing it's not just about real estate, right? It's about people, and it's about helping people solve problems. And the more people you help, the more money you can make even, and the bigger problems you can solve, the bigger deals you can do. So get good at helping people, and I think the wealth and the money will follow.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And do good. Always be doing good to others. and not getting greedy and not doing it for the wrong reason, and you will be successful. It will follow. I don't know if it's like this eternal thing that's out there. It's the universe.
Yeah.
Some people call it the universe. I know, for me, I believe, I have faith that there is a greater power, and that, and the purpose of life is to learn to improve ourselves, but is also to help all those around us.
Yeah, to serve, right, and make this world a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can people get to know more about you, and how can people find out about the Women's Health Collective?
Yeah. So Women's WC. So Women's Wealth Collective is the full thing. I do have a website, Women's Wealth Collective, but Women's WC on Instagram is the best place. From there, you should find my link tree, or even Facebook too. But Instagram is the best place. Women's WC. And we're getting things into place. If you go become if you follow me on Instagram, then you should be able to find me in all the other places.
Thank you for watching the Rehab with Ehab podcast. I was so excited to have Camille on the show today. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this with all your friends, because the information that you're getting here today is so valuable. And most importantly, take the golden nuggets that you received, that Camille gave you, and put them into action. Don't just listen and not do anything about it. Put it into action and start building your dream and your family's dream and everyone around you. Take care.